Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Luke. Today we're going to be talking about jewelry materials, right? First thing, short answer. You may not be able to see the difference, but your body sure does feel it. When talking about jewelry materials that are safe to keep under the skin, there are 6 kinds that meet the standards of the Association of Professional Piercers, as well as the requirements for my state, Georgia. ASTM F136 compliant titanium, ASTM F138 or ISO 58321 compliant surgical steel, niobium, 14 karat to 18 karat solid gold, glass, and platinum. The materials worn in a healing piercing should be able to withstand the heat and pressure of autoclave sterilization. It should be inert and compatible with the body so it doesn't cause irritation, allergy, or infection. All jewelry should have either internally threaded ends or threadless ends. Now, the gray area. There is one type of material that is not approved by the Association of Professional Piercers, but the state of Georgia still allows. That material is PTFE, that is ASTM F754 compliant. I am personally not a fan and have never seen a situation where I honestly thought having that in the body was the best option. The bad. Anything that is not the aforementioned materials is unsuitable for your body. The sterling silver is typically 925 sterling silver and is not okay for continuous wear, but it is instead classified as costume jewelry, and we'll get more into that later. Any jewelry that is titanium or surgical steel that has no identifying ASTM or ISO code designations. When shopping at a jewelry store, piercing shop, or tattoo parlor, it is not unreasonable or odd for you to ask, does this have MILS certifications? If they care about their products or have done their research, then they should know what they are. The state of Georgia mandates that we have these records on file at all times. This does not seem to be the case everywhere, however. Even though the MILS certificates may not have your particular piece of jewelry in that batch, it is a good indicator that everyone has done their due diligence. If they reply simply, what? Then we have a problem. Alright, long answer. Here we go. Each state has their own set of rules about what is acceptable and what is not as far as jewelry being used and sold for initial piercings. The state of Georgia is one of, if not the most, restrictive when it comes to the laws that outline what is acceptable and what is not. Arkansas being right behind and Kentucky being short thereafter, kind of strict. However, Tennessee is much more lenient when it comes to the jewelry selection. They have no statewide mandate when it comes to jewelry or implant grade materials. Other than it must have never been used before, it must be single use. This means that the jewelry can be made out of whatever, have whatever threading, including butterfly backs. They do not have to have MILS certificates, and the state does not even require them to keep an autoclave sterilizer on site. Tennessee focuses more on education, licensing, and consent, while Georgia is more focused on materials, documentation, and sterilization. So, why titanium? Well, first off, it's not just any titanium, it's ASTM F136 titanium. That means that this titanium has been combined with other materials in order to create an alloy that contains 90% titanium, 6% aluminium to increase the strength without sacrificing biocompatibility, and 4% vanadium to increase durability and resistance to corrosion. It is no longer pure titanium that you see on the elemental chart, but a titanium alloy specifically formulated for surgical implants. Adding these materials has it meet a strict medical grade standard. The material is now safe for long-term wear inside the body, resistant to corrosion and bodily fluid interaction, and minimizes the chance of allergic reaction. Low-quality titanium will not have MILS certificates and may contain unknown or unregulated impurities. ASTM F136 titanium is highly unlikely to cause any allergic reaction or irritation, even for those with sensitive skin. It is also non-magnetic, so it won't mess with your MRI scans. It can also be anodized to a plethora of other colors, which makes it the most widely accepted and loved material among most professionals, even though implant grade steel is cheaper. People usually ask, well, why don't you use surgical steel? While surgical steel can be used in initial piercing, it isn't anything I keep in my inventory. Why? A few reasons. It is not nickel free. Even though it contains very little, that number is not zero. It is not as hypoallergenic or corrosion resistant as titanium. It's heavier, and it cannot be anodized. I am of the belief that we should do something correctly the first time. Now remember, there's a good saying, it's repeated in the Piercing Bible, the bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten. What an excellent segue into our next material. Gold! Gold is so beautiful. 14 to 18 karat gold is the only type of gold we want. Anything less than 14 carats is not enough gold. It contains too many alloys to ensure it's safe from allergies. Anything higher than 18 karat becomes too soft and bends and breaks too easily. The gold must also be solid. It cannot be plated. Plated gold is measured within millionths of an inch and can be scraped or chipped away easily. You must be sure to buy your jewelry from a reputable source that ensures that it's nickel and cadmium free. and alloy for biocompatibility. Nickel can be used as a filler metal, even in gold. That means no mall jewelry. You want to make sure the gold jewelry has a nice polish and is free of nicks or scratches as well. You can also be sure to do yellow gold, rose gold, or white gold. Niobium is a pure element, hypoallergenic and nickel-free, making it perfect for sensitive skin. It can be anodized into beautiful colors without any coatings or paints. It's heavier than titanium, but is fully autoclavable and safe for initial piercings if made professional standard. Always make sure your niobium jewelry comes from a reputable source, not just anyone selling metal online. The only reason I don't usually carry niobium is because it is very soft. That means it isn't very well suited for threads on jewelry. It's typically used best for seam rings or captive bead rings. This is also the material that's only safe to get black jewelry for a fresh piercing. Platinum is one of the safest metals you can wear in a piercing. It's hypoallergenic, nickel-free, incredibly durable, and also heavier and much more expensive. Much more expensive. You usually only see it in high-end jewelry from professional piercing manufacturers. If you're going platinum, make sure it is the real deal and the polish is for healing. Cheap platinum does not exist, and as a professional, it's honestly what I've seen the least of. And now for my personal favorite out of all of them, glass. Glass is a fantastic and often overlooked material in the safe piercing world. High quality body jewelry glass is non-porous, nickel-free, non-reactive, making it hypoallergenic. This makes it ideal for clients with severe metal allergies or sensitivities. Only specific types of glass are safe for body piercing though. That's going to be Borsight glass like Pyrex or fused quartz glass. These are medical and lab grade glasses that can withstand heat and resist shattering. Medical grade glass is fully sterilizable in an autoclave, which makes it safe for initial piercings. It doesn't corrode or change over time, even with bodily fluid exposure. Artists often use it for stretching jewelry due to its weight and smoothness. Glass jewelry for piercing should be made by experienced, reputable artists or companies that meet APP, Association of Professional Piercers, standards. It should have smooth, polished edges with no chips, bubbles, or weak spots. I know it's my favorite, but I will also not really recommend glass for anyone who has a piercing smaller than 10 gauge for continuous wear, just to make sure it doesn't break or shatter. So for the long explanation of the gray area, PTFE,
polytetrafluoroethylene.
that is ASTM 754 compliant. Medical grade Teflon. It is flexible and hypoallergenic. Certain versions can be autoclaved and can be cut odd for anatomy and specific lengths. It's biocompatible. The big reason why it's not used more is because of the lack of consistency standards. PTFE cannot be verified for its purity, so it is hard to believe when it is truly medical grade. Many times it contains additives or fillers that are not biocompatible. Without documentation or batch testing, there's no guarantee that it is safe for long-term wear. Because it is so soft, it very easily will lose its shape inside the body. Because of the softness, typically the balls have to be press fit or friction held. This is usually a less secure way to have ends. Even though some versions can be autoclaved, the ones that can be are usually only used in super niche situations such as pregnancy retainers or temporary needs for special anatomy. The APB doesn't prohibit PTFE, but it is not recommended for initial piercing use. Now, for why we don't use a lot of that other crap. Sterling silver, specifically 925 sterling silver. That means the jewelry is 92.5% silver and 7.5% other materials, typically copper. Silver oxidizes or rusts when it comes into contact with sulfur. That is the gas in the atmosphere. Copper oxidizes when it comes in contact with air, moisture, or skin. When this costume jewelry is placed inside the body, the friction and natural oils work fast to break down the piece of costume jewelry and eventually makes it tarnish. The tarnish can stain your ears and cause irritation or pain, especially if you're still healing. Many people are allergic and have skin allergies to copper and nickel. Both of these are found often in sterling silver. Even trace amounts can cause discoloration, burning, swelling, itching, and pain. It is also porous and very soft, so it is easy for bacteria to infiltrate the jewelry because it scratches and nicks easier. It is also not safe to autoclave, which is vital to ensuring the safe piercing, because it causes tarnishing, corrosion, and micro-pitting. This material is not biocompatible. If it has not been graded by the American, now International, Society for Testing Materials Standard, and or the International Standards Organization, then it has not been approved to be safe for daily wear. Yes, that includes a jewelry that has been made for sensitive ears only. Jewelry that meets ASTM or ISO standards is not fancy. It's medically tested and certified to be safe in your body. It's the difference between a smooth heel and irritation and infection. When it has been graded, it has proven biocompatibility. It is safe for sterilization, heals better, lasts longer, and comes with mill certs. Threading is how we keep the end of the ball on the post or ring. There are three main kinds, but only two, internally threaded and threadless, that are acceptable for sale or insert in the state of Georgia. According to Section 511-3-8-04, definitions, Section 45, subsection M, on page 7 of the Body Art Rules in the state of Georgia. All threaded or press-fit jewelry used for initial piercing must have internal tapping, no threads on exterior of post and barbell. This is also the part of the law book that we refer to as why we do not use butterfly backs on piercing. The Association of Professional Piercers doesn't recognize them as acceptable either. The surfaces and ends of body jewelry must be free of nicks, scratches, burrs, and polishing compounds. Suitable pieces have no irregular surfaces that could endanger the delicate healing tissue of a fresh piercing. Metal body jewelry should be polished to a smooth mirror finish. If you wear jewelry that has porous or uneven surface, the new cells that form during the healing grow into the irregularities. Then, when the jewelry shifts or moves, these areas tear. As the cycle is repeated, scar tissue forms and healing is delayed. A faulty finish can also introduce bacteria into the wound and cause infection. This means externally threaded jewelry is not allowed and should not be sold in piercing shops and should not be considered safe for initial insertion. I've yet to see one time when a butterfly back has ever been useful or successful, or an externally threaded piece of jewelry has been the best candidate. Bone and wood are also two materials that we may sometimes be asked about. They are porous and should not ever be used on healing piercings. These materials cannot be fully sterilized because it is possible for bacteria to be deep inside the organic materials. These things might look cool, but they should never ever be used in a healing piercing. Maybe in a fully healed one, but even then with extreme caution and care.